Two.
Welcome back to Cheesehead Chatter. On today's episode, Brewers get a huge video board upgrade. Vladdy Jr. on the cover of the show, 24. Rhys Hoskins is a Brewer. If you were paying attention, we called it again. Brewers have 4 top 50 prospects. Doc Rivers has officially begun. In search for a new DC in Green Bay is underway. Oh, let's get it rolling.
But before we start off, once again, this episode is brought to you by Insect Hobby Design Co. Insect Hobby Design Co. has over 20 years of expertise in branding, design, illustration, and web development. They bring a wealth of experience to the table, whether you're a small business aiming for a standout identity or a nonprofit aiming for profit enterprise seeking impactful visuals. Their team is here to elevate your brand with precision and creativity. We would also like to give them an extra special shout out for getting us suited up right with an amazing upgrade to the setup by sending us mics for us to use. To learn more, go to insecthobby.com.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the mics. Huge upgrade. More
Huge
crisp
upgrade.
Thank you.
crisp sound for you guys.
So the Brewers went from a 6,000 square foot video board to I saw today almost 13,000 square feet. This thing's going to be ridiculous in the middle of center field.
And they got that one out in right field too, which
Yeah, replace
I
the
was kind
clock
of
tower.
I knew they were getting a new scoreboard and new ribbon boards, but I wasn't expecting a second scoreboard out there in right center.
I really
And I
like
think
those
they
at
said
other
that one's
stadiums.
yeah, I do too. I think those ones that one they said 2,500 square feet too.
Something like
So
that.
these aren't small boards. These are
No.
this is Mark spending money.
And I like the
did it.
fact that they don't have the exterior of the scoreboard having advertisements. They're most likely just going to have the digital ads like you see at other stadiums such as Lambeau. Like it's not going to be so stale looking out at that.
I'm gonna miss the Pepsi though. That's bread and butter at Miller Park. Just looking out at center field, seeing the
See-
Pepsi logo just right in your face.
I'm gonna
I-
miss the ting off the bottom of it when
Oh, yep.
someone hits an absolute nuke.
Oh, the thud of it hitting the
Yeah.
aluminum.
Especially during
Oh,
batting practice. You just boom, boom, boom.
It's just a classic. I really like how this is going to impact the information that the Brewers will be able to bring to the fan during the game, because during Brewers batting practice they have all the StatCast information, and they have all the Hawkeye cameras, but now when you go to other stadiums, they have all that information present for the fans, and now I think this is that next step to be able to get the fans more information on what pitches are being thrown, how hard was the ball hit, and this just adds that extra wrinkle to the presentation that the Brewers will be able to really be able to focus on and bring for the fans.
Billy did a really nice job with that at Citizens Bank. We were in the right field top deck, and we could see the ribbon or the sideboard in left field clear as day. Just looking at the board, seeing the different how the pitch was, what was the spin, just things that you don't really want to care about, but you do care about when you just see it straight in your face. It's really cool.
I'm trying to think back. Did the Brewers even put up in past years what the pitch type was?
No.
I know they definitely have
Sometimes.
the velo, but
Pitch types shown up, I think, in the last couple of years.
okay.
But it's really just cutter. There's
Yeah,
nothing
right.
Yeah.
else to it.
And
It also depends on pitcher too.
Yeah.
Yep. They also just have the exit velo and just the pitch
Pitch
velo,
speed.
but yeah, so this brings more information for not just the casual fan, but the fan who is really engaged on going between pitch by pitch.
Us.
Yeah. I have a love-hate with it. I love all the extra information, but there is a point where casual fans just won't care. Or, I mean, yes, I'll look at the video board. All of us will look at it. But at the end of the day, the casual fan just wants dudes to get on base and score runs. So,
And not
Exactly.
strike out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not strike out.
I mean, it's going to be awesome. I'm glad they're making stadium upgrades like that. I mean, we've all witnessed the disastrous summer of, are the Brewers going to leave? They're never going to leave, at least within the next 30 years. But these are the upgrades that need to happen. I get, everybody wants more room in the bleachers. Everybody wants more food options, whatever. But you got to engage the era that we're in, and the era that we're in is a lot of statcast. It's
It's
that
the
advanced
information era.
statistics. Yeah,
The StatCast
so
era.
it's
I
going to be
would
fun to see.
I would like to see potential sprint speed on the big
Mhm.
screen. Especially like I'm thinking back to Sal's debut where he made those two spectacular catches in the outfield. If we could have saw his sprint speed to get to that ball, that'd be a cool little feature there.
I know they're
Yeah,
Some
starting to
route
sprint
add
speed.
efficiency.
some. They're adding some spray charts a little bit last year, but it was only for like 5 to 10 seconds of like a one-off of like what they've done and maybe first time up. So now maybe with the extra scoreboard space, they'll be able to bring more of that information for the fans.
I was gonna say there just wasn't room on that scoreboard.
No, none at all. They maxed out all that real estate. So now this doubles the amount, triples, quadruples the amount of real estate and information they're able to get to the fan.
I wonder if they're
I
gonna
mean,
keep that same layout though, because it's just a classic layout at American Family
Mhm.
Field.
In
I am
terms of
very
like the
hard to beat.
graphics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the lineups on the
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
It's
they
just hard
keep
to
it.
beat.
I think they keep it and just how like instead of having those ads like they were, because that's essentially what they're replacing. They're replacing the ads on the side with the extra screen real estate. So they'll probably just fill that up with whatever extra they have and just work with what product worked that time.
Yeah, I'm very curious what that right center field board's actually going to be used for. Like we see it in Arizona, they have basically huge screens for the lineups,
Yep.
but we'll see. I think it's pretty cool. I'm glad to see these upgrades. But they're not done with just the scoreboards. I mean, they're expanding the left field team store, which I think should have been done a long time ago.
Yep.
I mean, I
Especially if you're
I
gonna
usually
have,
sit in the outfield. I don't want to walk all the way behind home plate to go look at a hat or a jersey.
especially even in the off season, that's the only team store open during the winter. So
Yes.
if
Mhm.
you're gonna have that be the one that's open during the winter, you're gonna want to have it large, more variety in terms of what they're selling. But
It's just a special place to go to.
It really is. Um, and they're expanding some food options. Yeah, I don't know if they really needed to. I
I
don't.
like the idea of it, but my personal gripe is with Delaware North, who is in charge of their concessions. Many times I don't find myself eating at the stadium just because most of the time I work at one of the restaurants on Blue Mountain, so I typically eat before a game there. But in the few times that I can't eat at work before the games, I'm find myself paying $15 for some brachos, and the few times I've had it, they've been rather cold, which is not what I want to see. But
I'll
I just
take the
hope they can
chicken
execute.
nacho or the chicken tacos every day, though.
Oh yeah,
Those are
absolutely.
fire.
That's going to be an absolute huge upgrade.
Yeah.
But like Cal said with the nachos, they just started to like stop with putting enough cheese on it. It just kind of felt like a bunch of chips and just like it just got bland after a while. And the nachos is like a staple for us when we go to the ballpark.
Best bang for your
Yeah, I
buck.
just don't want to drop $25 on them. Like they're solid, but I'd rather go to anywhere else and get nachos for that price. Vladdy Jr. on the cover of MLB The Show 24. I don't hate it. I mean,
No,
how often do you actually care about the cover? Unless
Maybe
you're a
when
fan of
it's
the team.
released.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's
after
just a
that,
loading screen and they change
yep.
it all the time.
Jacob, can you
Exactly.
explain to some of the casual baseball fans why that Vlad was on the cover as opposed to someone like Acuna per se?
Ronald Acuna is actually on a MLB partnered mobile game, and per some of their legal agreements, players can't be on different video games to compete against other covers within whatever their contract year is to date. So Ronald can't be on it for 3 years. It is what it is. I know there are a lot of Braves fans that were very, very disappointed that the National League MVP didn't get on the cover. Personally, I find Vlad Jr. to be a great cover. It gets the Latin fan, it gets the Canadian fan because Toronto's the only pro Major League Baseball team above the border, and he's a polarizing figure. I mean, he hits the ball hard. He does a lot of the good things right, and he's an exciting player to watch.
Show the picture.
My favorite one right now.
So, what future Brewers could be on the cover?
I think
Cheerio easily for sure.
Cheerio. I think William Contreras. I think that the one picture of him doing the salute over home plate,
That would go so hard.
I think that would probably be one of the better covers that MLB The Show would release because that is just such a sick picture. It has everything that a fan wants in a cover. I really, really am hoping eventually that William Contreras could possibly get on the cover.
I think eventually what they need to do is start doing a cover per team.
That's what I was just thinking as well.
Like you could have one central cover athlete. Like that's fine.
Mhm.
But give us the option when we buy the game that, oh, you're a Brewer fan, you want William Contreras on your cover. Here's the William Contreras cover. So
I really liked when 2K had the 3 cover athletes on 2K15. I feel like MLB The Show could like expand that, especially when Acuna's contract is up. But like I don't know, Contreras, Acuna, and some other Venezuelan, and just call it a day. It would be very cool to, especially in the year that the WBC is out. It would bring a lot of fans to the game.
I know 2K, I don't know if they still do this, but in the past they've had different countries have different cover athletes. Like I know, I think like in Spain in prior years they've had one of the Gasol brothers on the cover. So that'd be cool if they had that option as well.
I'm pretty
think-
sure they do something like
Okay.
that right now.
I think the show has done that with Canada before with the Toronto Blue Jay.
That makes
I
sense,
could be
yeah.
wrong, but I feel like that's happened.
But I mean, think
I
about it.
also think
A lot of the
the
video
cover-
games now are more digital. So besides like the marketing aspect of it, really how big of a deal is the cover athlete? Like, yeah, they're going to be plastered all over the game and the loading screens, but aside from that,
I buy digital
I
covers.
also think though that like the cover athlete in general should come from the team that wins the World Series. Like there should be an added perk. Like it may not, I mean, players may not care that much, but as fans, like that's a great way to memorialize the World Series champion.
yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Definitely one of the options to have because once they released the cover athlete, it wasn't like the initial reaction on Twitter X was very negative rather than like celebrating for the game. Like that kind of that having the routine of picking that athlete from the World Series winner, I feel like would eliminate some of that infighting within the MLB community. But then it goes back to our point is how much does it really matter?
Yeah. I'm excited for the game nonetheless. I'm still gonna buy it. I'm still gonna
Still gonna buy
Absolutely.
it, still gonna play it. Yep.
Gaber's
I look
99-cent domain.
Yep. To get that was infuriating last year.
Sticking in Major League Baseball, it's been a little bit of a busy week, and it turned busy right after we finished recording. Josh Hader to the Astros was a 5 years, $95 million.
He got paid.
Yes, he did.
He got his bag. Congrats to him.
Back
Is he
to
going
where
to
it
be willing to
started.
throw more than the ninth inning? Like,
No.
I'm paying you that much. I'm going to need more than like 70 innings on the season out of you.
But hey, it's the
Hey.
modern contract, modern closer. So he got his money. Can't hit a guy
Congrats
for
for
getting his
getting your
bag.
bag.
Yep. Can't hit a guy for getting his bag.
I want to be a legend at the bank.
Deal that went down yesterday, Jorge Polanco to the Mariners from the Twins in a 4-for-1. But frankly, like, if you're not a fan of the Twins or the Mariners, there's not a headliner in this deal. Going back to Minnesota. Like, I think the name I saw circulating the most as the headliner was Justin Topa.
Brewers legend Justin Topa.
Brewers legend.
But hey, great guy. But is he
Yep.
really a headliner for this, like a trade?
No.
I guess the Twins are just looking for something. It's one of the darts to stick to fill up the back end of their bullpen with Duran. So don't hate it. Mariners.
Tells us what they think is of Edward Julian too.
Yeah, that's very telling.
It's
I
just
mean, the Mariners are hopefully getting their second baseman though, because this is year 3 of them trying to get a second baseman.
Yeah,
Who's
the Colton
who's
Wong
2 years ago?
experience.
Adam Frazier.
Oh,
They've
forgot
gone
about
Adam
him.
Frazier, Colton Wong, and now Jorge Polanco.
Hopefully, third time's the charm. I do feel like Polanco is the best out of those three, like light years ahead of him.
Oh, easily.
But still, like for them to keep trying over and over and over again for second base position, gotta
kinda
hand it to
funny.
them. Respect the grind. Respect the grind.
I do like this
Respect.
fit though for Polanco in the Mariners. Like their lineup went from oh my god, this lineup to oh, this is a pretty solid lineup.
They're
So
getting
a
up
lot
to
of
that.
respect.
They're getting up to that 65%. Getting
Yeah.
way too close to it, but they're getting
It's
to it.
63, not 65.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Gabe.
The Angels will help bump that to 65 though.
Trey Cabbage gone.
R.I.P. Trey Cabbage to Houston, where he will be an all-star. I'm calling it now.
1000%.
Has to be. It only makes sense.
Like they'll find a way that he's gonna hit like 40 bombs, steal 35 bags,
It's the
and be an
Astros.
all-star.
And they'll probably even reduce his strikeout percentage too.
Yep. Justin Turner signs with the Blue Jays, 1-year deal. I didn't see the number though.
I think it was like, I want to say 9 with incentives up to get it higher. I do
That
think it
sounds
was
congrats to
hilarious
him.
that the Cubs were in on him as well. They're also in on Hoskins, struck out on both.
And apparently they're in on Belly and Chapman.
Turner got
Oh.
13.
13, okay.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Good for him. I mean,
Get his
Yeah.
bag.
What is he? 38, 39? And
The longevity he's had, I honestly thought he was done after he was with the Dodgers. I thought he was cooked. I know the Brewers were in on him heavily. I did not want Justin Turner, but he proved me wrong. He was very productive with the Red Sox. I gotta hand it to him.
what has Toronto gone from in this offseason? Shohei, who else have they been on?
Belly.
Belly.
Yeah, and then they end up with Justin Turner.
And brought back KK.
Gotta get
Gave
that
him
defense
some money
out.
too.
Hey,
Yeah.
Gold Glover can't fault them for wanting a Gold Glover in center field.
Oh,
But I think
there's
they've been-
also those trade talks about Yelich too, which
Oh
Yes.
there wasn't much into that, but if they wanted a Gold Glover, he was right there for him.
I mean, he is a Gold Glover. You can't take
You
it
are
away
so
from him.
right about that.
He's a Gold Glover. Can't
I-
fault the man for winning.
I think they've been in on every talk, but have accomplished minimal.
I mean, I have too. So
I mean, I thought about talking to Otani to sign him. So, I mean, I was in on him.
Yeah, those 37 Cheez-Its were gonna get it done.
I got a half thing of M&M peanuts left. So,
That's all he needed, defer him for 20 years.
oh yeah, the IOU with a little heart on it.
Yep.
he can pay my loans. I'll give him some M&Ms deferments.
But the biggest news that Brewers fans will care about, Rhys Hoskins. The Brewers have a first baseman.
We wanted him and we got him.
Finally,
Can't believe it. Can't
Called
believe it.
again.
Yeah, we did.
awesome.
What are we? We're almost in double digits of being right about these things. It's getting awesome. So if you're not listening to our podcast, you're definitely missing out on some very valuable information.
Extremely.
We know ball.
He's going to play first base. Like,
Yep.
I know there may be some quote unquote limitations to start spring training, but by the regular season, he's going to play first base.
I mean, there were
But where do
rumblings
you
of
guys-
him. There's rumblings of him contributing in the playoffs. So from the playoffs to now, he's had almost a full off season of what a normal major leaguer would have. So I mean, yeah, he'll probably have a slow start going into spring training, but he's earned that slow start no matter what. Even if he played all of last year, he's not going to play the amount of innings that a man who's trying to like just break the roster is going to play. Like he's earned this right. So I feel like he's going to be ready to go once the season comes around.
I mean, it's
So
Rhys
where's-
Hoskins.
Where's he hitting in the lineup?
3, 4, 5, somewhere in that
I was
span.
gonna say 4.
Yeah.
3-4, depending on like how Pat Murphy wants to shuffle the lineup, because I feel like that'll be really telling to see his lineup differences versus like how Craig was filling out his lineup card. Like, where does he see the value in putting all the different guys in what order?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but this just came to me. Sell on the 1, Will Bill at 2, Yelly in the 3, Hoskins 4, Willie 5.
I think
I
Yelich stays at the top, but I don't hate it.
I think that to start opening day, I really think Yelich will be at 1, and I don't know why I have this weird feeling that Sal will be back in that 4 spot that he was for a little bit, just to like ease him back in. But I know that might be a tough spot for him. But the Brewers don't have like a true 3-hitter almost, because it's Yelich, Contreras, Hoskins, and then kind of you don't do you want to throw Adames back in that 4 spot, especially after he struggled last year, or do you put him 5? Where I personally think he's best suited. Like it can get you can get creative with how the Brewers are going to set up their lineup this season.
Yeah, I like that. I think Yelich will be leading off.
Yep.
He was too successful out of that spot. I have a weird feeling we're gonna see like Garrett Mitchell, Sal. I mean, kind of name your guy at 2, and then I'd put Will at 3, William Contreras at 3, and Hoskins 4, and then Willie 5. Like I think we're gonna get some answers as we go. But like, what if like during spring training, Christian Arroyo is just balling?
I'm kind of curious. The past few days, I've been looking over these projections on Fangraphs, and they have Rhys slotted for 69 RBIs. And I always take these with a grain of salt because historically they've kind of been wrong about the Brewers, but I'm just curious where they're getting these 69 RBIs from, because I personally think he's going to mash at AmFam. They have him projected for 22 home runs, which is good. I think he could be around that 25, 26 kind of
I think he
benchmark.
pushes 30. I think he pushes
I
30
was gonna
this
say,
I
year.
wouldn't be
I
surprised
think
either.
30.
30 wouldn't be too out of left field.
No, 30 with 75 to 90 RBI, just based on like where he sits in the lineup too, because that'll tell a lot of like just runner traffic, and just if 3 versus 4, it'll be really telling like just how he gets his RBIs.
RBIs in the 60s for a dude that's had the career he's had is embarrassing.
It's disrespectful.
It's super disrespectful. Like he's earned the right to mark him down for 80, 85 at the
Yep.
worst.
Absolutely.
I mean, he always has like it almost seems like he always has one lightning card in MLB The Show. It doesn't matter. He's always due for that one.
He might have a 30 RBI month. Like,
Oh, 100%.
that's disrespectful.
Extremely. But the Brewers always seem to be disrespected with some of those projections, because they are an organization that strives to get the high end like output on all their players. So I could see why some of the projections might be lower, and then some Brewers exceed those expectations, because the Brewers are an organization like over and over and over again, like rely on getting the max output from all their guys.
This same site has projected the Brewers at like 78, 77 wins the last few years too, which obviously they've surpassed that. So
Yep.
just a little bit disrespect, I think.
The Brewers have 4 second basemen listed on the 40-man roster right now.
And
Obviously,
if
not
he
all these guys are
just
going to break camp. But yes,
Right.
Arroyo is not technically on the 40-man. But that deal just went finalized today. You know, we've known about it for almost a week. I'm kind of intrigued by Oliver Dunn. I
I
mean,
am too. He had a good
sweet
slash
swinging lefty.
line. Sweet slash line in double A. Was a breakout in the Arizona Fall League, where take it with a grain of salt. He's a 25, 26-year-old in the Arizona Fall League, so toss up there. But he's still, I mean, if you can hit, you can hit. And that's what the Brewers are needing right now is impact lefties.
Yeah.
One
I mean,
quote that stands out from me from Arnold, he said it a few days ago. I don't know exactly, but he said we've been able to pitch and catch for a long time. Now it's time to start hitting the ball, which, as we know, we've seen the Brewers been one of the better teams with pitching the last few years, but offense hasn't been phenomenal. So to get competition into camp and show that you still got to earn your spot is big for me. Like Terang, he can defend,
Mhm.
is best in the league, but offense isn't great. So we just need more production at that second base spot.
I'm
Sadly, Sadly, Owen Miller's the odd man out, and honestly, it's not that sad.
Hometown kid, so you got to feel for him a little bit. But
A little bit.
I mean, he's from Fredonia, so
He'll make a living out in Nashville for the year. Maybe get called up mid-season or middle of June, July, August there during the dog days when guys are a little banged up. Good utility guy.
I mean, we're gonna find out a lot during spring training between Miller, Monasterio, and Arroyo.
Because essentially they're all three the same guy. Like
they're
like under
exactly
the
the
hood,
same.
like stat cast wise, defensively, hitting wise, like you pin all these guys up and you scrub their names from all their production. It is virtually the best guy or the same guy.
Yeah. I think
How
two of the
old
three
is
break
Owen
camp.
Miller?
They're all like 25, 26.
Yeah.
They're all basically the same guy.
I just really hope they do not try and stick Owen Miller out at first base again at any point in the season, because that experiment last year was rough.
They don't need to with
No, they don't. But
with Rhys, and then eventually Black will be up,
Yep.
and Arroyo can play a little first.
Brock Wilkin, a dark horse to impact the team this year.
He is a dark horse. He was one of the
Same.
better college hitters. So
Same with I can't think of his name right now. Their top first base prospect, who's a non-roster invitee.
Oh, West Clark.
Wes Clark.
yes,
didn't he have a good fall league this year too?
Yeah,
He did. He mashed.
Him and EBJ. So
the same projection site has him getting 495 at bats.
Really?
Yeah.
So
18 home runs. So
Who's this
Really
for?
generous.
Wes Clark.
in the
really,
show or in the minors?
This is what they're projecting his 2024 season in the majors.
I'm
So-
telling you right now, if Wes Clark comes up and hits 18 home runs, I will do a lot of things.
so what? Fangraph sees Hoskins and Wes Clark as like a first base.
They're the same guy.
tandem?
I guess so.
Are they
guess
the
so.
same guy?
Oh yeah, I mean one's a proven playoff
Yeah.
masher, and one's Wes Clark, an Arizona Fall League masher. I mean, essentially they're
Same.
essentially the same person.
If Wes Clark contributes 18 home runs to the 2024 Brewers, there's a lot of things in this world that I wouldn't think about doing that I would definitely consider.
I'll wear a shirt of anyone's choice for a whole day. If
Wow.
Wes Clark hits 18 home runs, I will wear
The day
a
after
shirt.
he hit his 18th bomb, you're wearing People's Choice shirt.
Yep.
And this
If
is
he-
not a shot at Wes Clark at all, but it feels like he's a little bit farther away than hitting 18 home runs in the show this year.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean,
Seriously,
good for him. If
he
it
gets
happens,
500
good for him.
if he nearly gets 500 at bats, either things are going really well or things are going really poorly.
Or both.
And then are the Brewers done? Like, I don't feel like they're done.
Soler could
especially, go ahead, Calvin. That was
I mean-
exactly what I was gonna say.
it makes sense on paper because the Brewers don't have a true DH right now, but keep in mind they haven't in the past. And who was it? Robert Murray came out a few days in an article saying there's not really a market for him, so he might have to take a deal. Probably not as much AAV as Rhys Hoskins, but a deal like 1 year, prove it. So like maybe like 11, $12 million. That's something I'd be interested in because he can mash. We could use him at the DH spot.
If Soler signs with the Brewers, we won't see 18 home runs from Wes Clark.
No.
No.
No, we'll see about 25 to 30 from Jorge Soler hitting in the 4 spot.
Yeah.
If Jorge Soler comes to the Brewers, I'll wear a shirt with Soler's face on my shirt, and probably something that says along the lines of "F the Cubs" or something. I don't know.
But also,
Cubs.
Matt Chapman's still not out of the possibility here. Like,
No,
could he sign a pretty similar deal to Hoskins?
Does he
2-3
have a
years, 15 mil at the Cubs, apparently.
Yeah, I think the
But they're
Cubs have
talking
struck
to
out.
everybody.
They've struck
Are
out
the
on
Cubs-
anyone.
Are the Cubs and the Blue Jays the same team? Like, do they just talk to everybody and like hope for the best? It's like bad dating from them. I mean, did you guys see Hoskins' interview where he was like, Yeah, a team would call, they would talk for a couple days, and then you'd hear nothing.
I just don't know how you do it, like how
Does
you do
Craig
business
Counsell
like
ghost
that.
people?
Maybe that's
think-
why the Brewers couldn't get free agents.
Craig Counsell's out here ghosting everybody.
Maybe it was Craig all along.
Hey,
It
he
was
ghosted us
Craig
at the end of
all
his tenure here.
He
Yeah.
did.
He did. Wait, so Jed's not cooking?
Oh,
Cubs fans tell me
Oh.
he's always cooking.
Wait, but he got Jamison Tyone last year.
I have Cub friends here, and the last few years at school, they've been telling me, "Oh, we're getting this dude, we're getting this dude," and then I'm like, "We got more free agency signings than you guys have, and we're the big bad Brewers." A lot
Blake
of
We don't
our,
Perkins,
spend money.
baby.
a lot of
Blake
he's been
our,
Perkins.
cooking. He's
nobody.
been cooking about as well as the Jets GM.
Oh,
Well, that's its own dumpster fire right now.
once
Hey,
again,
Joe Douglas had one good draft.
living
Him.
with the
He's
Jets
right.
fan, I'm
He's
here
rode
for
that
it.
draft for a long time.
He's gonna ride that forever. That's gonna be hit 20. What was it? 22? No, 21.
22.
21.
Garrett Wilson rookie year.
Yeah, that was 22.
Yeah. 22 is the Joe Douglas year.
Yeah, Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, and Garrett Wilson. He's
And
riding that out for
They're picking
life.
at the top of every round, so
Yeah.
I'd hope you'd find some gems.
The Brewers have 4 guys in the top 50 for prospects. Jackson Churio, number 2, number 1 outfielder. The Miz, number 5 right-handed pitcher, 33 overall. Caro, the number 3 catcher, 35 overall. And Tyler Black, the number 5 third baseman, at 46 overall. It is not out of possibility that all 4 of these guys have cracked the show this year.
That you took the words right out of my mouth. That was the exact sentence I was thinking right as you were naming all those guys. Like Churios, he's a legit option to be starting out in center. Mizorowski's a July, August, September call up who could possibly take the Woodruff Burns approach to being a back end guy, or who knows, maybe he gets a Mother's Day call up like Freddie got. And then Caro, he's your lowest ceiling or lowest floor guy. I mean, he's your prototypical, at worst case scenario, backup catcher. So, and then Tyler Black.
Could be opening day roster too.
Yeah, he could be penciled in as either a bench bat and that's learning, or you're starting third baseman. So there's a lot to like with the Brewers top 100 guys breaking that list.
I cannot
Backup
stress.
catcher is a joke right now. I mean, I like Haas, and I mean, you can tolerate the rest, but
I wouldn't be surprised if Haas is the ending backup catcher. I mean, he's a good stick if they can figure him out defensively. I don't hate Eric Haas, but
No,
3 catchers.
I
DH.
am very for the 3 catcher system, especially since Caro is basically like a better version of Manny Pena, at least right now. Like he's gonna be as good of a stick, as good but defensively, and he's 20 years old, so I just don't see how that's not a viable option for the Brewers.
yeah, that's a fun group, and there's more coming.
There is more.
Don't let anybody tell you there's not. They're
Draft and developing.
coming.
Yep.
They've spent
And
all that
they've
money,
done well.
all those resources, and where is it? The DR? I think
Yo,
Venezuela as well.
Venezuela. It's Venezuela.
It is, so not
Venezuela.
even in the
They're
DR?
Huge in Venezuela.
Yes.
Like their top prospect, Jackson Churio, that they signed as a shortstop, converted to an outfielder, and now is the number 2 prospect in all of baseball.
And I am not one of Mark A's biggest fans, but this is him spending money. This is how the Brewers have to operate: draft and develop. You see it now.
International sign. Find the 15 to 20 range top prospects of the international and just develop. And they've
And
done it
also
so well.
throw extra pool money at guys in the draft too. Like really be smart in how they get established college hitters early in the draft, and then as the rounds go on, really entice them with a good culture and a really good signing bonus, and hopefully
Yeah.
entice them away from their college signings.
This is the
Like
model for
Miz.
how the Brewers need to be successful. And fans want Mark to spend more money, but look at myself, Gabe. We're 20 years old. The Brewers have been mediocre at best for most of our lives. And these last, we've had a run of 6 years where we've been in the hunt every single year. This
Yep.
is how successful small market teams have to operate. I cannot stress that enough.
I mean, I'm just really happy with what the Brewers are doing. And anybody trying to tell you different clearly doesn't pay enough attention to what's actually happening with the Brewers.
Yep. This is
They're
the
not
new
afraid to
regime.
go for it. I love it.
Couldn't agree more.
Really, really quickly, Doc Rivers era has begun. Obviously, we've seen one game, but isn't it nice to have a coach that talks ball and not just like weird things where players hate him?
So refreshing.
The
Watching,
Jalen Hurts method.
not to knock on AG because he's a good guy and I respect him for what he tried to do here, I guess. But having an experienced coach like Doc Rivers come in with this experienced group of players, it's going from a below average coach to just an average coach, you could say Doc is. It's totally refreshing. He's doing stuff that we wanted AG to do. Like, for instance, he came in, he wanted Dame and Giannis in when they were in the penalties so that they're closing quarters. And we saw AG, he'd have Dame play the whole entire first quarter and he'd be on the bench for most of the second quarter. I wasn't a big fan of that, but the fact that he's trying to get Dame, who's one of the best free throw shooters of all time, in, like, it shouldn't be rocket science. It's what you have to do to get free points. We saw a lot more energy and effort, especially to start the game last, what was that, 2 nights ago against the Nuggets, against the reigning NBA champs in a high altitude city. So to see the guys playing for him is really refreshing. We didn't see a lot of that all year. So he wants to hammer the Dame and Giannis pick and roll game, which a lot of fans know us. In order for that to be effective, Giannis has to become a better screener. A lot of times he just nonchalantly sets a screen and it's not a good screen. So there's not a lot of separation opened up from that. And he also needs to learn how to roll because his bread and butter is down low in the paint. He's gonna have a lot of open dunks. Your Dame's gonna have a lot of jump shots. It's gonna open up the floor a lot more.
Yeah. I'm
Couldn't
just
agree
excited to
more.
see where it goes. I like Doc. He may not be the most popular guy, but at least he's a Hall of Fame coach.
He's top 15
Like,
coach of all time. I think the NBA voted him as.
He knows
So-
the city.
yep.
My mom taught
So
with his mom.
He's gonna be fine. He's
Awesome.
gonna be just fine.
Hell
It's
yeah.
gonna be awesome.
And a lot of, like, it's tough to come in and what is it? About to be February and take over. But if there's a man who I trust, I think it's got to be Doc Rivers at the moment for who was available.
Yeah.
And he's a veteran coach too, so like he's worked with all types of guys, and he knows how to attack different situations where Adrian Griffin just didn't know how to adjust his style to the guys that he was given, because it was like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. Like he was just, it was the definition of insanity, trying the same thing, expecting a different result, and it was just time to get a new voice.
I
And
like
I
that
really like this.
I like that he told the guys after the game, the cat's out of the bag. People said you guys couldn't defend. You guys just defended.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
the Cavs brought in Tyronn Lue and won a championship. So I think Doc Rivers is a little bit better of a coach than Ty Lue.
Yeah. Moving on to other guys losing jobs. Joe Barry gone. This
Thank
isn't a
God.
shock.
No.
Hate to see you go. Love to watch you leave. It sucks when a guy loses his job, but it was time. I mean,
It looks like he's getting a job somewhere as a position coach. So it's not like he's out of football.
yeah. But now the
Yeah,
Packers need to move quickly here.
very
Like, you had
quickly.
time, but now Mike McDonald has signed with the Seahawks as their new head coach. A little surprised they went defense, but that's beyond the point. But you know he's going to call one of those dudes he had in Baltimore. Is it going to, like, we've got a couple of guys that we got to get. We got to get one of them. The guy for me is probably Denard Wilson. He's probably my number one on my list. He's been credited for developing Jamal Adams, James Bradbury, Darius Slay. Marcus May had a year of 88 tackles, 4 for loss, 2 sacks, 2 picks, 2 forced fumbles, and 11 passes defended. And then he had Jamal Adams at 2 consecutive Pro Bowls. He also was the DB coach for the Eagles last year, when they went to the Super Bowl. And everybody's like, oh my God, their pass defense is really good. Yeah, Denard Wilson. number one pass defense in the NFL. He's
I
been a
mean,
DB
just
coach for the Ravens, Eagles, Jets, Rams. He's what they need, really. Like, been in the league for 12 years, hasn't been a coordinator yet, but he clearly can develop defensive backs.
and that's what the Packers need. They need a good secondary, and they have the foundation. Carrington Valentine and Corey Ballantyne had actually like decent years this year, and just getting a guy like Wilson can elevate them to that next level that they I see in Carrington Valentine. I see him as a good cornerback for years to come for the Green Bay Packers.
Mhm.
Moving off
He's
that,
my
my
number
guy.
one.
Oh,
But he's my number one, but you have my number two.
my guy is Zach Orr. He played for the Ravens, I believe 2014, 2015, 2016 before needing to retire because of injury. He is the brother of Chris Orr, who played linebacker for the Badgers not too long ago. After he retired, Harbaugh hired him as a defensive analyst with the Ravens. In 2021, Urban Meyer hired him to join his staff with the Jaguars. That was not very long-lived because of Urban. And then in 2022, Harbaugh brought him back to Baltimore as their inside linebackers coach. He's responsible for developing Patrick Queen. You could argue he helped revitalize Roquan Smith's career, take him to that next level. And the one thing that I really like about him, he just brings the juice. There was a video circulating a few days ago when the Packers, or when a reporter came out and said we were interviewing him. He's over on the sideline. He's amping guys up. He's a young voice. He hasn't been a coordinator yet, but he brings the juice. He comes from a football family. I believe he has two brothers, both of which played football in college. His dad played football, so he's a great football mind, and I think LaFleur kind of wants to go with the younger guy. So I think Zach Orr makes a lot of sense here, as well as Denard Wilson.
Same thing. They interviewed Christian Parker, 32 years old, DB coach, the Broncos, and he was with the Packers in 2019 as, I think, an analyst. But like, you can see what LaFleur wants to do. He wants a dude that is young, is hungry, is going to bring some new life to the defense. I mean, I don't know if I've got a tweet out there. It very clearly says, "I'm sick of these old guys. Here's the list of young guys to hire."
Yep.
And the only one not on that list is Christian Parker, because I didn't think at 32 years old you're ready to be a coordinator. But if he gets the job, awesome. But Wilson and Orr are the two. And if you're going to hire somebody from the Ravens staff, you better do it now.
They're gonna get
Like,
poached.
John's going to promote one of them, and McDonald's going to take another.
I like the
Whether it's one
fact
of
that they're
these
doing
two,
their due
whether
diligence,
it's
but
D-line.
I think at the same time you've done your due diligence now. Let's move quickly. So, like you said, they don't get poached. But I do
Yeah.
like the fact that they're doing their due diligence, interviewing multiple candidates, getting some fresh ideas. It helps off in the long run. But the main
As
thing for
long
me, I just want a guy with juice, a younger guy. Even if you're not the greatest X's and O's guy, if you're bringing juice, you're easy to play for. I'd love playing for you if you
There's
bring
enough
juice.
resources in the NFL to get X's and O guys around you. Like, you need a true leader and a true guy that the defense can rally around, because that's when you have the best defenses. Is the one voice, one leader, and the X's and O's guys really funneling that idea forward.
And
That's
not to knock
exactly
on
what I
Joe
was going to
Barry,
say.
not to knock on Joe Barry while he's down, but he was an older guy, and even in all the videos the Packers posted in the locker room after games, like he was just there, like not a lot of juice with
He was
old
just
Joe
there.
there. He was there. He was a
as long
body.
as they don't get Staley, that's all I'm hoping for. That is
I
like
still
the
don't hate
last guy.
Staley.
He was a
but-
good D coordinator. Not a
But if
great
you
coach.
get one of these two, guys, you know they have connections,
Yep.
and like they all have dudes that will come with, and you'll have a fun young staff. But we got to move quick. You can't wait around.
Bottom line, gotta move quick. Guys are getting jobs in the NFL quickly.
So that's kind of where we're at. We'll talk about the Super Bowl next week. We all know the matchup: Chiefs 49ers. I haven't done any digging because I don't know who's going to win, but we'll figure that out next week. Other than that, like, we will see what happens going forward with all the Major League Baseball. Hopefully the Packers have a new DC here shortly, and we'll see what happens. But as long as you guys don't have anything, I don't have anything else.
No, I think I'm pretty good.
I'm good.
That's it for me.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. Hit that follow button. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. Send us questions. There's a note on here. The Brewers are good, so just be aware.
We're
They're
gonna
lightweight
keep
They're
saying
very
it.
good.
We've said it
They are
last
good.
year. We're gonna continue to say it.
Brewers are
So-
good.
Thanks, y'all.
Peace.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Peace.